What would you ask someone who's making $30 million a year in their coaching business? That's recurring revenue. That's my guest today. His name is Matt Ryder. He has a history as being a special forces sniper with active duty, plus being a sales professional, being a gym freak, and now he's on my show. I got to ask him a whole bunch of questions, and you're going to want to watch all the way to the end. I guarantee it.
The Content Capitalist Podcast.
What made you decide that sales was the thing for you? Because I'd imagine in the military, everything's very top down, right? And it's not really an entrepreneurial environment.
Yeah, it's very creatively stifling, which is why I was never getting lost. It's one of the reasons why I was good at my job, but like I was never going to be a lifer because I do have a fairly creative brain. Like I like to solve problems in innovative ways, which is good up to a point. But it's very hard to constrain people like me within a box, as I'm sure like you're the same. And most people probably watching this, it doesn't really work that well. And so like when I left the military, I didn't really know what to do. Like I spent my 20s kicking doors in and shooting terrorists. And I was like, it's just not really a very actionable skill set within the realms of like the quote unquote real world. So I just did something that I knew I could do.
So what is a typical transition? Do most people who leave the military that were in your position go into security companies and stuff?
A lot of it's private security, cops, and personal trainers. It's a large contingent. Some become business owners. But like to go back to your question, like I didn't know I was in sales until I've been doing sales for 10 years. I'm a personal trainer and I'm a gym owner, but like I spent 8 hours a day doing sales. And I never once, like literally as silly as it sounds, I never once considered myself a sales guy until I became the best sales guy in the group, in the company that I was working for. And we had 100 employees and we had 18 gyms. And I was the guy who was sent out to fix all the sales. And even then I was like very reluctantly, I was just like, I've just figured out a way to do this. But then when I left the company and I had really nothing else, I was like, I think I'm good at that. So I might as well give it a try. But I mean, it took me 10 years to get to a level of where, and this is selling every single day of where I was sort of decent enough at it to be considered someone who can come in and do this for you.
And did you have any training about sales at that point at all?
Pretty minimal. If you spend 8 hours a day, so it goes back to like when I was like sniping taught me a lot because it's all very data driven. So like you have to have systems and processes and ways to minimize variables. So your entire job as a sniper is to minimize or understand every variable available, because if you're shooting it at like 1 kilometer, if your barrel is 1 millimeter to the left, you miss by 1 meter. That's how I look at the world, because that's in my most formative years from like 19 to 26. That's what I did. So in sales, I would constantly track all my data. And I just found this to be common sense, to be perfectly honest. I just tracked all my data and then I have a look at when I do this happens pretty consistently. I don't like this outcome, so I'm going to try something different. And I would constantly do that. And then I would figure out like what times of days should I be calling people, because I get much higher pickup rates at certain times and just all these little things. And over the course of years, I just developed a system that worked for me. And then I was able to kind of help other people replicate that. But I wasn't really formally trained until I got into the realm of where, like sort of the high ticket selling realm, where there was enough money in it. Because I was making like $20 a sale. I got like comms, like if that sometimes.
$1 billion per sale.
Yeah.
So just for perspective, and we're going to build up to this in a second, but what do you make on a sale now? From $20 to, if you're the one who closes the sale for a client, one of your bigger clients, what would that be?
I think our biggest ever commission we've had come in would be like 400,000 or 500,000.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's a big step up. So
we've got one in the pipeline at the moment that'll be a $5 million commission.
Wow.
Yeah.
$5 million commission.
Yeah, so $30 million product. So.
That's amazing. One of the things that I'm finding in common among successful coaches, especially in the information space, is they don't wait for the proper diplomas, the credentials, and all the permission from whatever imaginary authority exists. The truth is, they just got to go out there and get results for real people, and then those results become the credentials. Those results become the proof that you can do what you say you're going to do. And that was a similar story from Matt Ryder in his growth to getting to $30 million a year in his business.
What was the biggest milestone for you between that aha moment? Like, I can do this, I can help people, and I could sell, to now? Like, what was that quantum leap, if there was one?
The biggest thing for me was when I first, there was a business coach that wanted us to do a sales, and he was offering $2,000 commission per sale. And so I did the interview. I was like, yeah, I'll knock this out of the park. I've done this plenty of times. I've never done it, but I was like, yeah, I'll kill this. Like this is my jam. Anyway, he completely ignored me. And so I just followed up with him like relentlessly. Like I'm talking relentlessly. Like I messaged this guy 6 times a day. I was a real pest. And then I finally said, hey man, I know that you obviously for whatever reason didn't want to go with me, but can I ask you one question? He replied and he goes, yeah, for sure. I said, how much does it cost you to get someone onto a sales call? He said $400. I said, I'll pay you $400 for every sales call I don't close. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, you can't really say no to that. Right. So, and I closed 6 deals in the first week, set a company record. And then from there, we've had a really long, we're still doing the sales for that business. That was 2.5, 3 years ago. So we have a really good relationship with them moving forward. But that was a real moment for me. Was like, okay, I'll just back myself and put myself in a situation where I have to succeed. And that's kind of been our motto kind of moving forward.
You know, a lot of times I see people who are doing these high levels of income, have big audiences online, and are seeming to crush it in every way. But in this next section, we talk about how he was going from not doing very well, from struggling to just pay his bills, or working like crazy until he's totally burned out, and how he bridged that gap. So let's go into his backstory a bit in this next section.
I think what set me apart from a lot of other people was content. And that's probably why we're on this call today. I've been doing content for a while now, like pretty much from day one, because my plan was to be associated with like, that guy's good at selling. That's it. Because I knew that I could sell, but I couldn't really figure out how I would get clients, to be perfectly honest. I was like, how do I get sales clients? Like I had sort of bumbled and stumbled into things, like seemingly. And so I was like, okay, I need to put a system down, but it's not like I'm going to run ads. Like it doesn't make sense to me to run ads for me to get a gig as a sales guy. Like that doesn't make any sense. So I was like, I'll just do content. And so I just decided I set up my iPhone, and then I set up my ring light that I bought for $25 on Amazon. And I was like, every single day I will do a 3 to 5 minute educational video on Facebook every single day. And that was my personal Facebook page. I was like, I'll just do that. Like, and then I'll write stuff about what I'm doing, and then I'll put up wins. And then from there, I started getting noticed because I wasn't doing any call to action. So not a single one. Like I didn't do a call to action for just under 2 years.
Wow. This reminds me of Gary Vee early days, just, the wine library, pumping out videos every single day, no hard selling, just educating. So what were you talking about in 3 to 5 minutes? Oh, you had nothing to sell. So what inspired you to do this daily thing?
Because I was like, I have to be associated with being good at sales. If I want to have the best of the best business owners wanting me to do their sales, then I have to be associated with being good at that. So what I would do is because I was on sales calls like 8 hours a day. So I was like, I've got a lot of interesting information, and I'm doing high volume, high ticket, which is pretty rare. I was on multiple accounts selling in 2 different industries. So what I did is I just went, okay, cool. I just talked about like things that I was doing to get certain outcomes. And then like when I signed up to a sales course, I was talking about things that I'd adapted to make it better. I was talking about my show up rates and what I'm doing, my problem solving process, like very super transparent, like very, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how it's working. This is something that I've learned, which I think maybe could benefit you. That was really it. And then I started posting up some wins that I was getting and stuff like that. And that's when sort of everything started to snowball. So then I was like, hey, I think I'll do a podcast.
So timeline wise, how many years ago was it that you started launching your videos?
I've been going for about 3 years now, I think 3 years. But the thing with me is I always wanted to outdo everybody with content. For example, YouTube's a really tough medium. And I've seen a lot of my competitors go on YouTube and quit. You know what I mean? And I can see they're using your Social King and some of those other things to get views quickly and get subscribers quickly, because I know my niche and I know you can't really grow that fast and, all kinds of stuff like that. But I think people look at content in the wrong context. Content is not designed to get you an immediate ROI. Like it's really not. Like, and if you're looking at a YouTube channel or a TikTok or like an Instagram or even doing a podcast, and you're looking at like, how do I, over the next 3 to 6 months, equate this to a 100% direct ROI? It's the wrong mentality, in my opinion, because it's the totality of output that you put out there, which is going to equate to a lot of goodwill. And goodwill and brand equity are like ineffable qualities that create value. not only within your company, but like within everything. Like, for example, Coca-Cola, right, has a 37 times multiple. Like, if you ever have a look at like brand valuation theory, I'm not sure how business nerdy you are, but basically a business like Coca-Cola, the brand is so strong, you can interchange all the people and nothing will change for 37 years. Like, that is their predictor, right? The years is what dictates the value of the company. That's how I look at content. Like, if I just constantly put it out there and I'm always trying to make it better, but I'm not looking for the quick win. Like, I can't tell you how many of my competitors like haven't posted on YouTube for 3 months. I post 2 times a week, every week. I will never stop. And in 15 years, I will have a monster of a YouTube channel and an unstoppable brand because I didn't stop. And so same with my podcast. My podcast, it gets good downloads. Like, in terms of like business podcasts, like, it's a successful podcast, but it's not like I'm getting 150,000 downloads an episode or anything. You know what I mean? Which I'm then calling to action and sending somewhere and then selling something. Like, I don't really have that much to sell. I have very high-end services that are very niche, but people come to me because they've been able to consume enough of my content to where they go, I think that guy knows what he's talking about and I think he can help me.
Hey there, thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. Now, the fact that you're watching this part, the end of the video, tells me that this was valuable to you. So I'd like to ask you to please share this video with somebody else who also is going to get value from these types of tips, backstory, and strategies that are working to help people grow their businesses to millions of dollars every single year. I'll see you in the next video.